Hello, this is a demonstration of using some code which I found on the internet, um, and I put some information about it in the wiki, which you can see above. What I did was to create uh, just a fairly simple setup of a scene with a capsule in it. And you can see that scene there with a little bit of terrain on with some, well, it looks like gravel on it. So I put that in there first, and then I added the capsule to it. You'll also notice I added a main camera as a child of the capsule so we could follow this around. The objective of this code is to watch the capsule traverse the landscape, avoiding obstacles. If I take this particular view that you see here in the scene and look at it from the top, you'll see there's the capsule, there's the camera, and then I also have these three elongated, what were originally cubes, but now I guess are just elongated rectangles, 3D rectangles, which I use for obstacles that the capsule can avoid as it tries to go between several waypoints. Now, interestingly enough, on these waypoints we see a little red transparent kind of sphere looking like that called a gizmo, and we've placed these three at three different places. And these are these three game objects, which are empty game objects. Each game object contains a script called waypoint, and waypoint has in it information which I think was fairly interesting. If we look at it, we can bring up waypoint, and there it is, and we can see that it's very simple. It's basically uses a call called onDraw Gizmos, which says let's use the color red and then draw a wire sphere in the place where we've put this empty game object. So if you look back over here, we'll see three of those located in different spaces. Now, a key thing in understanding all of this is to know that if we'd used the original waypoints method we looked at, we'd have to place these, and we would have to specify how do you get there, because with waypoints just existing to go between them directly, you'd go from here and just hit against the fence there. But this has to be smart enough so it knows to calculate a path. It uses the NavMesh, which is a terrain, and that navigation mesh is built. After you put your collision objects on whatever the terrain is or a plane on it, you go and set your information about the agent. That is how far it can step up, height for example, the slope it can traverse going up, its height and all. That's very useful stuff. And then finally press bake at the bottom here. And it causes everything to turn blue and seems to work very nicely. Now, we also have a script which we put in Capsule. It's called the NPC Simple Patrol, and it's included. I included it from Tommy Thompson's information on the website, but it's also on his website besides here in the wiki. And if you have that code up, you can see there's a place for patrol points, and you can put in three of those. And I put in these three waypoints that I created earlier that I called game object. I just take them and drag them over and put them in there. So I have three. And that sets that all up. Also in Capsule, you have to put on a NavMesh agent, as you see here. And there are various things you can try out to see how well it works. So I just use it right out of the box and it seemed to work. It's a very simple capsule collider. It's got a collider on the capsule. It's got a mesh renderer, of course, and these other two, and that's all there is to it. Let's play it, and we'll watch this work. Oh, I want to tell you one other thing before I forget it. In both the scene and the game, you'll see that gizmo I mentioned. See the little red spot down there? And it turns out there's a little switch up here, which you can turn it on and off when it's playing. So if you wonder where on earth is that waypoint, you can turn it off and see where it is. I'll just leave it on so you can see it. So watch both the top and the bottom. I've left the capsule being selected here so you can see it moving from the top here, and you can see it moving down here at the bottom. Look at how it turned around the end of that obstacle and is going toward the waypoint. It went there, it waited a little bit, and started out toward the next one. And you can watch it. Pretty soon it will go around the end of this obstacle. It goes off towards this one. And then from there it's going to take off and go back. Oh, it doesn't know exactly which way to go, does it? Would it have been easier to go down and around? Or how would it be best to go? Well, it looks like it came back this way and is going back here. And then after that, it'll come back to the beginning again. So it's an interesting patrol. Now, one of the interesting features that the author of this created was the ability to put in a little bit of uncertainty. So we're not exactly sure which way we're going to go from one place or another. Look, in this case, came down here, and the patrolling behavior is now here. But basically, it is continues to patrol around these various points. So you can imagine putting in a soldier here, if you will, a stockade and stuff like that, and have the patrolling behavior be relatively random, going back and forth between multiple points. So it could be very realistic here. You could put in grass and barbed wire and all the stuff you might have in a game of this sort where you're holding prisoners. So that's the demonstration of this, and it turns out it was pretty easy. I wanted to show you a number of things, not only that you can go look on the web for almost anything you need and find it there, the code, without having to invent it yourself or code it yourself. All you really have to know is how to manipulate it yourself. So we'll say that modding is a big thing here for creating assets that you can actually use in your game. I didn't show this to you, but I will as soon as we turn the corner. Notice gizmos down here? I turned it on and off. You could see it over there right in front of us now, the gizmo appearing and disappearing. So that's an interesting thing that appears in the final game rendition here in the editor. Thanks for watching. Bye.